Having checked which topics drew a major attention from our followers these last 7 days, we briefly put these forward. First, each Russian military district will have a TOS-1A flamethrower battalion. Second, General Dynamics unveiled its Stryker A1 IM-SHORAD air defense armored vehicle at USA 2019. And third, the 101st US Airborne Division will return to full air assault power. Battalions armed with TOS-A1 heavy flamethrowers will be created in each Russian military district. Their main task will be to destroy enemy fortifications. The Russian military has long discussed the engagement concept of the flamethrowers. Only now has the TOS-1A found its place in the combat order. It has to burn the ground by thermobaric projectiles before an attack. A battalion will comprise several heavy flamethrower companies and motorized rifle units to guard weapons on the march and at the front line. Each new formation will receive over 10 TOS-1As and transloaders. Heavy flamethrowers will destroy the defense by a fuel and air explosion. Tanks and motorized rifles will then advance. TOS-1A is a unique weapon with no analogues in foreign armies. NATO countries do not produce such weapons, as they do not fit the concept of combat operations in which the alliance was engaged in the past decades. The US Army announced that Strykers would be modified with sensors and weapons to fulfill an interim maneuver short-range air defense, or M-SHORAD, requirement. This is in response to a capability gap identified in Europe against Russian UAVs. In order to provide a next-generation protection capability to forward-deployed units, the US Army's M-SHORAD solution would include a radar, an electro-optical infrared sighting system, an electronic warfare package, as well as Hellfire and Stinger missiles and a 30mm cannon. The US Army has thus decided to use the Stryker to develop a new short-range air defense system fitted with direct-fire weapons and missiles, maybe a kind of reply to the Russian Pantsir S-1 gun missile system. As the US Army's only air assault division, the 101st traditionally has 2 combat aviation brigades instead of 1 like other divisions, to allow the unit to lift a full brigade combat team into combat at one time. But budget cuts forced the Army to remove one of these 2 brigades. The effort to re-equip the 101st with dozens of helicopters is one of the top aviation priorities the Army has identified as it races to be ready to conduct major combat operations across all warfare domains by 2028. The effort involves equipping the 101st with an additional 36 CH-47 Chinook helicopters, which will give the unit a total of 48 of these heavy-lift helicopters. The effort will start by adding a company of 12 Chinooks. While the effort has already begun, it's still uncertain how long it will take to add 36 more Chinooks to the 101st.
And now for the air sector, Karem Aircraft unveils its design for US Army's FARA program, and Raytheon delivers first laser counter-UAS system to US Air Force. Karem Aircraft unveils its design for US Army's future attack reconnaissance aircraft program, the ER-40, a rigid main rotor helicopter with a rotating wing and a rotating tail rotor. The ER-40 aircraft has a 12.2 wingspan, wider than the helicopter's 11-meter 3-blade main rotor diameter. The wing can provide the majority of the aircraft's lift and tilts upward during the helicopter's descent or ascent in order to make its vertical flight more aerodynamic. The ER-40 also has a swiveling tail rotor, which in forward flight is angled backwards to be used as a pusher propeller. The company believes the ER-40 should be able to exceed the US Army's 180 knots maximum speed requirement by 40 knots. Raytheon Company delivered the first high-energy laser counter-unmanned aerial system to the US Air Force earlier this month. The system will be deployed overseas as part of a year-long Air Force experiment to train operators and test the system's effectiveness in real-world conditions. Installed on a small all-terrain vehicle, the high-energy laser weapon system uses an advanced variant of the company's multispectral targeting system, an electro-optical infrared sensor to detect, identify, and track rogue drones. Once targeted, the system engages the threat, neutralizing the UAS in a matter of seconds.
For this week, Army Recognition has selected the following topics. First, Army Recognition interviewed Giovanni Oliveri, the head of Brescia Defense Systems plants at Leonardo. Secondly, leading seaman Brandon Menz showcases an aircrewman career. And last but not least, USS Wayne E. Meyer conducts a live-fire shoot of a close-in weapon system. Yesterday, Army Recognition team has visited one of Leonardo's sites in Brescia. The tour was focused on the naval and airborne small caliber guns fabrication. It was a good opportunity for Leonardo to show his Marlin 40 naval turret with his 40mm cannon. The Marlin 40 Type A naval mount consists of an unmanned mountain capable to be controlled exclusively by an external combat management system. Leonardo's Brescia site is specialized in the production of small-scale land and naval systems that have consistently been chosen as the light armaments by the Italian Army, Navy and other international armed forces. A few years ago, the plant began to produce airborne armaments, including machine guns and pintle mounts for helicopters and air-ground-based defense systems, which are loaded onto cargo aircraft. HMAS Choules MRH-90 Type N helicopter, call sign Attrick, plays an integral role in the ship's operational capability. Manned by Navy 808 Squadron, the embarked fly can be utilized for search and rescue, vertical replenishment, casualty evacuation and a range of other tasks as required by the ship's command team. The MRH-90 multi-role helicopter replaced the ADF existing Black Hawk and Sea King helicopter fleets, with increased and improved capability, ability and capacity to meet emerging requirements. 46 MRH-90 aircraft have been acquired for the Navy and Army. On the video you can see the leading seaman Brendan Menz as aircrewman at the 808 Squadron on HMAS Choules, working for the Royal Australian Navy. Sailors aboard the Harley Burke-class guided missile destroyer USS Wayne E. Meyer conduct a live-fire shoot of a close-in weapon system. Wayne E. Meyer is underway conducting operations in the Indo-Pacific region while assigned to Destroyer Squadron, the Navy's largest forward-deployed death run and the US 7th Fleet's principal surface force. The Mk-15 Phalanx CIYS provides ships of the US Navy with an inner layer pond defense capability against anti-ship missiles, aircraft and littoral warfare threats that have penetrated other fleet defenses. Phalanx automatically detects, evaluates, tracks, engages and performs kills assessment against ASM and high-speed aircraft threats. The current Phalanx variants, Block 1B, has the ability to counter asymmetric warfare threats through the addition of an integrated, stabilized electro-optic sensor.